Hey there, Modern Math teacher. It's time to have a very real conversation because there are a lot of myths that are floating around about teaching real world math. Things like it is just too hard to plan, or my students can't handle it. You have to sacrifice the rigor to make it relevant. Like you've got to make it fluffy and fun just to make it connect. And it's just like fluff and projects. And I have to tell you guys, none of that is true. That's total BS. But, I get why so many teachers feel that way because honestly, I used to believe some of those things too. Hey there, Modern Math Teacher. I'm Kristen Moore, your host here on the Modern Math Teacher podcast. And in today's episode of Poolside PD, I'm breaking down the real truth about how teaching real world math, what actually happens, why students need it, and how to build on it without burning yourself out. So if you're up for it, let's do this. First up, I want to tackle myth number one, that it is just too hard to plan real world lessons these days. You guys, that's not true anymore. We have AI and we have systems and frameworks that we can use to make this easier. This used to absolutely be challenging, but this is no longer the case. The planning does feel hard. I guarantee it if you're trying to create every problem from scratch. I remember those days myself. Here's the hard truth, my friend. You need a system, not just some heroic effort in lesson design, okay? So when you are following a consistent framework, like the reality check, or you're using the craft prompts for AI, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You get to just remix your already done lessons with real world context that are relevant for your students. Remember, and that's the key here. It can't just be real world, it also needs to be relevant. When you have these systems in place, this actually makes planning easier over time because you're just designing within that system. That reality check of real, relevant, and rigorous, and the craft prompting framework for AI team up together to help take whatever curriculum you have and design real world, rich, and engaging lessons for your students in a fraction of the time. Okay. So no longer is it too hard to plan real world math lessons. We have the technology, the tools, and the systems and structures in place to be able to conquer this in a snap. All right, let's talk myth number two here. Your students can't handle it. Bullshit. Calling it out right here. Now I've got to go ahead and make this one explicit, but it is complete BS. Your students can absolutely handle real world math when they have the proper scaffolds and training. Scaffolds mean like you are training them on how to do these things. You are having high expectations for them and you are easing them into it. So by the time they're doing it still in October, they are rocking and rolling. Okay, you guys? So the problem isn't that your students are incapable. It means that they haven't been given the chance to struggle productively inside of these relevant problems. Okay. And so we need to build in those opportunities. When you embed checkpoints, you model the discussions, and you have project milestones, students can rise to the challenge because you are slowly, incrementally building their capacity to do so. Okay. Real world doesn't have to mean that the math is going to be above their heads. It means it's connected to their world. So we're going to be designing lessons, activities, and projects that are real and relevant to our students. And we're going to scaffold them into success, just like I'm going to help scaffold you into success in designing these things. You're going to scaffold your students into success in participating in these things actively, engaging in them, and really making great meaning out of it. Okay. Now, that brings me to the third myth that we just have to debunk. You do not have to sacrifice rigor to make it real world. That is my least favorite thing in the entire world. It is one of the most dangerous myths out there. I almost couldn't speak for a minute. Okay. So some of you think that you either have to have rigorous standards or fun real world activities, but not both. Again, bullshit. I've already got to mark this explicit. I might as well just keep calling it out. Here's the truth, you guys. Real world problems actually require more thinking from your students. Not fun, fluffy, whatever things, but actual real world problems that are going to meet the intent and the rigor. They're going to be doing more thinking. They're going to be modeling with mathematics. That whole process and framework that NCTM wants us to engage in, this gives them the ability to work in on that modeling mathematics model. Your students are going to be able to analyze messy data. There's no perfect data in the real world. The real world is messy. So we're going to let them engage with that and begin analyzing and drawing conclusions. They're going to have to make assumptions, right? I assume this to be true. And if that's true, then this is true, right? We're going to teach them the logic behind it. They're going to have to justify their solutions with sound reasoning to support it. This happens naturally, and it's going to deepen both their conceptual understanding and their procedural fluency while they're doing it. So we're hitting multiple ends of rigor here. Obviously, we've got the real world application as like the big context here, but we're also helping them to really solidify their understanding of it conceptually and their ability to model and compute with it procedurally and fluently, okay? So here is why most teachers struggle to break these myths. You weren't shown how to, just calling it out there. You weren't shown how to design lessons this way in your teacher prep classes. I remember, I guess I'm a few years removed from even my master's program, but I remember designing lessons and it was like an outrageous amount of time and it wasn't designed to engage them in real world rigorous work. It just wasn't. And so not only were you not taught that, but most of the curriculums that we are given as teachers give you either a stack or a selection of really dry procedural problems, naked numbers, and just factor this, use quad formula here, let's find the zeros of these polynomials. Or they'll give you like isolated project templates or an isolated task at the very end that lack true instructional support. That's why it feels overwhelming for you. And that isn't your fault, okay, you guys? You just need a system, a simple system, a little bit of coaching, and a community that teaches you how to design these real world math experiences with intention. And that's what we're going to do inside the membership. Modern Math Teacher Membership was built for this exact problem. Inside of it, you are going to get some done for you projects that are rigorous and not just fun, right? Because I want to make you work smarter, not harder. So I'm giving you a jumping off point. I'm going to teach you the lesson design frameworks like the reality check and the craft AI prompt to make this happen simply and succinctly for you. You'll also be getting quarterly or monthly trainings and coaching so you aren't just guessing, and PLCs where you get to learn with teachers who are doing that too. Private, professional learning communities where we get together. We'll have a Facebook group, we'll chat in there, and then we'll have a couple of calls each month so that you can actively engage with people who are doing this with you, okay? So just to recap on what we talked about today, real world math is not fluffy fun BS, okay? It isn't above your students' heads, and it's absolutely not impossible to plan when you've got the right system. You don't need more myths. You, my friend, just need a method to do that. And that's exactly what we're building inside the membership. So if you are ready to finally teach real world math without the overwhelm, head to the link in the show notes and get on the wait list for the Modern Math Teacher Membership. Doors open in early August. I'm so excited. If you've got questions, DM me at More Than Just X if you want to chat about how to make this work for your classroom. All right, you guys, that is it for today's episode of Poolside PD. Remember, I want you guys to keep engaging with your summer, right? Like let's keep the disengagement with the engagement. Let's go ahead and keep a positive attitude and an open mind on what we think our students are going to be able to do this year, because they absolutely can do it. And let's, as always, just kind of, keep it real. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next one.